I call it.
It's biblical.
All right. And just like that, we are live.
We're finished. Oh,
We're
we're done. Great work, everybody.
Wrap.
Been nice.
Max is very excited to be doing one of his scripts. This is one of the first times that the little the thumbnail frame that gets posted online, I've looked so stupid in it every single week. I have looked so impossibly dumb. Today I look pretty normal. I thought about doing a fake laugh right as we went live just to try to get my teeth in there, but alas, that's not the case.
I didn't even realize that's how it does the grab. So that's tough for me to hear 7 weeks deep.
We already got a good evening, guys, from your father. Your dad was just like waiting. Ryan and Jordan, he's chomping at the bit.
Oh yeah, this is his
nothing else to
Friday
do.
night.
That's right.
Well, it clearly is. We don't have anything else to do either. Clearly,
For 7 straight weeks. And just like that, I will introduce us. Welcome to Screenplays, episode 7. We're back. Me, Austin, Ryan, Max, me, comma, Austin, comma. That sounded like Austin was an extra person. I am so extra excited about tonight's episode. We are being joined by the wickedly talented one and only Jason Smither, our old friend. And we got to really step our game up tonight.
Yeah,
Jason, a very a seasoned, talented actor. And we're really, really excited to have him on to read tonight's script, which is No Outlet, written by our very own Max Romanowski, who could not be more excited.
This is different than Hot Dog Justice, is I guess my only thought about that.
That's true. Jason, the first script we read of Max's...
How did I miss Hot Dog Justice?
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man. It was a different experience than what you're getting tonight.
This is a little bit more serious than Hot Dog. I will go out on a limb and say this is better than Hot Dog Justice.
Whoa.
Unfortunately, it is better than Hot Dog Justice. You know, like how Paul Thomas Anderson said, for better or worse, Magnolia is the greatest film I'll ever make. That's how I feel about Hot Dog Justice.
Yes. So if Hot Dog Justice is your Magnolia, then No Outlet is your Boogie Nights.
Well, let's hope that's not true. There's no similarities between Boogie Nights and the film we're about to read.
I'm excited. I haven't
read
read it
I'm
yet.
not wearing pants.
This is why we wanted Jason on. I knew Jason would appreciate the Boogie Nights reference.
Love that.
I knew it. So, Max, before we get started, is there anything you would like to say?
Yeah, this was inspired by a Levi's jeans commercial, and that sounds like a lie, but it's 100% real. I didn't put it in the script because I never put music cues. I guess I should. I always imagined the song ending with a really melodic and simple cover of Walk the Line.
Okay.
So keep that in your mind. We're not going to play it, obviously. But in many ways, and we're always joking about Hot Dog Justice, but in many ways, this is written much more recently. And it sort of is, it is no like surface level similarities, but it is sort of emotionally repackaged a lot of ideas that I was toying with as a 20-year-old, and then tried again later, and hopefully with a little bit more nuance and poignancy and lack of blindfolded hot dog eating competitions.
Yeah, this is a hot dog list script.
Yeah, there should be an homage to it, but alas, there is.
Well, I am interested in after the fact following up and hearing more about what you kind of see as the similarities between the two of them.
Yeah.
So we'll
That's
return to
great.
that. And before we get started, last thing. Oh, Jordan's going to say something.
No, I was going to say, Max, when you said more recently, when did you write this?
I've had this idea. I guess I saw that jeans commercial a long time ago. I had this idea in college, and I couldn't understand how it was a real movie. Like, I just had the concept, and I think I kept pitching it to Austin, and he'd be like, "That's not a movie, Max." And I think within the last year, I guess I've been toying with it. And it's been sitting on the shelf for a little bit. I think I was probably sitting like in a TA class where I didn't have anything to do, and I jotted down some version of this opening monologue, and that sort of teed things off. And then here we are. So
And
yeah, it's newish.
I am proud to have been proven wrong. Having read this script before tonight, it is a movie.
It's real.
It is a movie. I was saying for a long time I didn't think that the concept had the legs to get where it did, but Max has proved me wrong, and I'm really excited that we get to share it with everybody.
Yeah.
But before we do it, who is everybody playing tonight? Amazingly, we will all only be portraying one person.
Exciting.
Or in my case, no people. I will be doing all the scene direction per usual. And what about everybody else?
I will be playing Joel Olstein.
I'll be playing Harold.
I will be playing Cabby.
I will be playing Christina.
And I'll be playing the hot dog.
Oh, if only.
No, that's Rodney. I'm sorry.
Yeah, did we not send the updated script?
Rodney. I will be playing Rodney.
Perfect.
Fantastic. So with no further ado, Max Romanowski's No Outlet. Exterior City Street bench, midday. Two men in khaki pants and ties sit on a bench eating lunch out of brown paper bags. Joel, mid-20s, young but fatigued, stares out into nothingness while eating his tuna fish sandwich. He barely seems present. Rodney, late 20s, a businessman with a touch of car salesman, sits next to him rambling and munching on crackers. We get the sense that this is a familiar setup between the two.
So I think we're in the final stages for campaign. I've been talking with my advisors, and they really think that one more big event could really be the thing that pushes us over the top. Like nothing cloying or an obvious publicity stunt, something simple. Maybe support another local charity. I don't know. The last thing I want to suggest is I'm running for town council for the wrong reasons. I just think we're really close on this,
Rodney clearly pauses.
Oh, sorry.
Rodney clearly pauses for Joel to agree wholehearted. Joel still stares forward, lost.
Hey,
Without breaking his path of sight forward, Joel finally responds.
What's the sign spinner pointing at?
Huh?
The guy on the curb over there.
We cut to the other side of the street, where a lanky teenager wearing earbuds spins a large green sign reading Tom's Discount Tires.
Where's he pointing the sign?
Rodney pauses to consider the obviousness of the question. Joel continues anyway.
It's going the wrong way, see? The sign's pointing down Madison. Tom's is on the corner of Grand.
Oh, I mean, he's probably just holding it backwards or something, No one actually pays attention to that.
Still seems strange.
Right.
A timer goes off on his watch. Lunchtime's over. Rodney stands up, crumples his trash, and throws it away in the trash can next to the bench.
Anyway, voting is next week. I got to stay strong through the finish line.
Rodney walks away, leaving Joel alone. He's still staring intently at the sign spinner. After a beat, he shakes himself out of his stupor. He sighs and gathers his trash. After discarding it, he walks away. We cut to the sign spinner for several beats before No Outlet. Interior, coffee shop, midday. Joel sits at a table in a small local coffee shop. He's reading a novel and sipping on an iced Americano. The cafe is lively, but not overwhelming. He looks up and surveys the area. We see Rodney enter the shop and flash a wave and a smile at Joel as he walks over to the counter and orders a drink. He then joins Joel at his table.
Hey, buddy. Sorry I'm late. But I've got a good reason.
Rodney fishes around in his bag and pulls out sheets of stickers.
Campaign stickers came in.
Rodney holds up a sheet of cliche stickers with the slogan, Rodney's got your back, printed in red and blue letters.
Took a risk with just my first name, but, it's more personal, I think.
He immediately peels one of the stickers off and adheres it to Joel's shirt.
Lovely.
Anyway, what's up? seem a little off recently.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I saw another sign spinner pointing the wrong direction on the way here.
So,
It felt like more than just an accident. It sort of felt like I was.
Joel is cut off by Christina, who walks up to Rodney and starts talking.
Here's your cortado, Rod.
She sets the drink on the table next to him. Joel is noticeably shy around her.
ooh, eternal blessings, Christina.
Christina seems kind and down to earth. She's amused by Rodney's enthusiasm, but not particularly interested in matching it.
I do it all for you.
I know you do. How's the barista life today?
Oh, it's great. This job has all the glamour I was promised after I finished business school.
Naturally. So, you coming to my party?
Undecided. Got some interviews lined up. We'll see how that goes.
Ooh, rise and grind, ex-Tina. You should still come. You know, Joe will be there.
Joel is shocked that he's in the conversation.
I will.
Christina laughs.
I'll see what I can do.
She walks away. Joel casts a glare at Rodney.
Thanks for that.
Interior, office cubicle day. Joel is sitting at his computer typing. His cubicle is cluttered and unorganized, but not particularly crowded with his personal things. He still looks disinterested.
Hey, Joel, can you come in here a second?
Joel looks up and sees his boss, Harold Jenkins, mid-50s and way too convinced he should be in charge, beckoning him from his office. He stands up and walks into his office. Interior, Harold's office, day. Harold sits down at his desk and gestures for Joel to follow suit in the seat across from him. Joel complies.
Thanks for coming in here, Joel. I'm sure you know why I called you in here. You know, we've been experiencing cutbacks around here recently. Damn economy isn't what it used to be. You know the struggle, right?
Right.
At any rate, with cutbacks hanging over and considering the incident from last week.
Mr. Jenkins, I assure you that was just a one-time thing.
Right. I know. I understand. But with everything that's going on, I'm in the unfortunate position of having to let you go.
Exterior, office building, day. Joel stands expressionless outside the building. He's holding the cardboard box full of his office trinkets. Rodney bursts out the door and looks around the area until his eyes find Joel.
Joel, what happened? What are you doing?
I'm just waiting for my Uber.
No, I mean with Jenkins. You got let go?
Oh, yeah. I guess it wasn't all water under the bridge.
Oh, that's garbage, man. I'm telling you, they can't do that.
Sounds like they can. I mean,
Joel gestures at his box of supplies.
Well, dude, I'm so sorry. Hold on. You're not taking an Uber home. I'm taking you out to eat. Let me just get my keys, okay?
Rodney coerces a smile out of Joel and then jets back inside. Joel stands alone, again, observing the city street. The sign spinner from before is still out there. The sign is still pointing in the wrong direction. Joel gives a disgruntled look that slowly turns into an inquisitive one. We follow his eyes as he looks at the direction the sign is pointing. This progression leads us to another sign spinner who is pointing her sign in the same direction as the Tom's Discount Tire sign. We see an idea capture Joel's imagination. Exterior, office building, later. Rodney exits the building again with his keys in hand.
All righty, Joel. It's game time. You name the place. I'm buying.
Rodney reaches the spot where Joel was standing, but Joel is no longer there. All that remains is the box of Joel's belongings plopped on the ground right where Joel was previously standing. Rodney looks around haphazardly for his friend. Exterior, city sidewalk, day. Joel approaches a sign spinner holding a large arrow that says, "Limited time, first month, no rent." Joel closes one eye and holds out his index finger. He follows the tip of the arrow with his finger until he sees another sign spinner about a block down the road. He takes a deep breath and marches down the sidewalk. Exterior, railroad track, early afternoon. Joel is now walking down the street, his eyes focused on another sign spinner on the other side of the train tracks, advertising a Quiznos down the road. The clanging of the bells at the railroad crossing indicates that a train is coming. Joel comes to a stop to wait out the train. As he does so, his cell phone begins to ring. He quickly answers it.
Hello?
Rodney's concerned voice explodes into his ear.
Joel, are you okay? Where on earth did you go?
Yeah, I'm fine. Well, the sign spinner was still pointing the wrong way.
The sign? What? What does that have to do with anything?
I don't know, but it feels important, like it means something.
Means what?
I think I have to follow it.
The sign spinner?
Yeah.
Joel, dude, you're not making any sense.
I know.
Joel hangs up the phone. The train is past now, so he crosses the tracks. He approaches the Quiznos sign spinner and gives him a greeting nod. It is reciprocated. Joel again looks where the sign is pointing and heads off in that direction. Exterior, residential road, afternoon. Joel is still walking, now sweating a little more in the heat of the day. He's looking around slightly confused. He hasn't seen a sign in a while and seems discouraged. In front of him is a split in the road. There are no sign spinners in the vicinity.
Huh. Okay, this could be something of a problem.
As he is walking, his phone buzzes again. He checks it briefly and sees that it's Rodney. While looking down and considering whether or not to answer, Joel suddenly trips on a crack in the sidewalk and tumbles to the ground, letting out a yelp of pain. He rolls over on the ground and winces his face. Glancing down at his leg, he can see his ankle swelling slightly as a result of the fall. Joel sighs in defeat and rests his head on the ground for a moment. After a beat, he opens his eyes. He looks down the street the way he came and then down the direction he was heading. Just at the edge of the block, he can make out a construction detour sign. Next to it is an orange road sign with an L turn printed in black on the front. Joel gives himself a relieved smile.
Bingo.
Joel carefully picks himself up off the ground, groaning in pain, and then carefully limps toward the orange sign and onward down the road. Exterior, city road, afternoon. Joel is walking down the street, still limping and slightly more haggard than before. He walks up to another side spinner who suggests that he turn right. As he turns right, a taxi cab pulls up to the side of the curb. The back door flings open and a man in a business suit walks out. The open door is directly in Joel's path. He looks at the sign spinner and can see that the arrow is pointing directly to the cab. Joel shrugs and enters the cab. Interior, taxi cab. As Joel scoots into the back seat and fastens his seatbelt, the cabbie, a 40-something man with gray hair, assesses Joel through the rearview mirror.
Where am I taking you?
Joel settles in and surveys the area.
I'm not sure.
Then you might be in the wrong place, my friend. You sure you don't know where you're headed?
Joel ponders this for a moment, then looks out the front window of the car. His eyes immediately go to a billboard down the street advertising a McDonald's on 73rd and Illinois. Joel makes a why not face, then brings his attention back to the cab driver.
Can I go to the McDonald's on 73rd?
Whatever you say.
The cab departs from the side of the road. The two sit in silence for a moment.
You okay, pal?
Yeah. Why? Don't I look okay?
Well, I mean, you stumble into this cab looking like hell. Then you ask me to take you to a McDonald's 12 miles away when there's one just around the corner. You meet a lot of weirdos working in this business, but I sense something's a little different about you.
I guess today has been a bit of a whirlwind.
Nothing a double quarter pounder can't solve, I suppose.
Not really planning on eating there. More of a pit stop. Not really sure where I'm going.
I can tell.
You can?
Listen, Joel. Can I call you Joel? I've gotten pretty good at reading people's faces in the rearview mirror. Wherever you're headed right now, just know it's going to make a little sense. It's going to make as little sense as everything else in your life.
Probably. I'm probably losing my mind or something.
No, Joel, it's a good thing. Nothing will make any more sense after today. But that's a good thing. You hear me?
I guess.
Let me give you some advice you didn't ask for. Life is chaos, but it's not meaningless. There are always people in your life that are for you, chaos or no chaos.
And when they aren't?
Your real friends are. I'm sure about that.
Exterior, McDonald's, late afternoon. Joel is limping down the road. As he walks, a car pulls over behind him. Rodney jumps out of the car.
Joel! Hey, Joel!
He sprints over to Joel and grabs him.
Dude, you got to talk to me. What is going on?
I told you. I think I need to follow these signs.
Joel, you have to understand what it's like to hear that, after everything.
What does that mean?
Rodney considers this.
Don't do that, man. You know what I'm talking about.
You think this has to do with my blow up from last week?
Well, you have to admit that it doesn't look.
I told you I wasn't angry. I was just raising my voice. It was really loud in there.
Dude, but you made Gretchen cry, man. Never heard her sob that loud. Over an issue with the copier.
Joel gets defensive.
So what? You think I'm crazy?
I'm not saying that. I just think.
No. This doesn't affect you. Just let me do this.
Come on. Don't make this difficult on me.
Joel retreats emotionally to a soft whisper.
Please. This is all I have.
Joel, get in the car. I'm not asking.
Joel hardens his demeanor again.
No.
Rodney grabs Joel and starts to pull him toward the car. Joel wiggles free and darts away across the street.
Joel, wait up! Watch out!
Joel is too focused on getting away. As he dashes across the street, an oncoming car collides with him. He's thrown up onto the hood and windshield, cracking the glass. The driver slams on their brakes, and Joel goes flying forward onto the road. Rodney screams in horror and runs to Joel's side as darkness closes in around him. Exterior, crash site. We see a whirlwind of events from Joel's perspective. They come in hazy and disjointed. There's an ambulance, medics, stretchers. We hear faint voices calling out to Joel. Interior, hospital, late afternoon. He finally comes to in a hospital. He has scrapes and blood all over his face, and he's wearing a neck brace. Sitting next to him is Rodney. Joel lets out a groan. Rodney leans over to him.
You okay, buddy?
Oof. Yeah, that was a bit of a doozy. What's going on?
You got hit by a car, man. I honestly can't believe that you're not in worse shape.
They both sit in silence for a moment.
Joel, you got to talk to me. What's going on?
Joel contemplates the question.
I don't know. Nothing makes sense anymore. I'm drowning.
Drowning. Drowning how?
I can't really describe it. I'm supposed to know how to deal with life and function like I'm capable of doing things right. But I'm just me. I was a kid, and then time passed, and now I'm supposed to know how the world works.
I mean, I'm not sure anyone really knows what's going on with their life.
No, I mean, you do. You love your job. You're running for town council. Christina's all set up at the big firm. You guys have it all figured out.
And the signs?
I feel like I'm the only one who's struggling. I just thought that something finally might be making sense. That maybe I figured out how the world works.
Joel, you know that's not how life works, right?
Yeah, I know. But it was still something.
Joel resigns himself to defeat and settles into bed. Rodney stands up and walks over to the window. Outside, the city is still bustling along. Rodney scans the scene. Something flashes briefly that catches his eye. There's a giant neon sign that reads, "Come inside, make your dreams come true," outside of a tacky and rundown bar. At the edge of the sign is a giant arrow guiding the passerby toward the entrance. Rodney can't help but notice, however, that the arrow affixed to the top of the building is pointing in the exact opposite direction of where the door is. Rodney focuses on it, then turns back and looks at Joel. A sly grin spreads across his face.
Screw it.
Huh?
You want to follow the signs? Then that's what we're going to do.
Wait. What? Why?
I don't know why you need to follow signs. Maybe you are insane, but you're right about one thing, though. Life doesn't make sense. Not to you, and certainly not to me. But if you're going to do something insane, then I'm going to be right there with you.
Joel stares at him in gratitude and starts to smile.
Okay. Whatever you say.
Joel gets up and stretches.
You good to walk?
I got this.
Rodney walks over to the door and cracks it open. Joel rips off his neck brace and starts to put his clothes on.
All right. The coast is clear. Let's go.
Exterior, park, late afternoon. Rodney helps walk a battered and tired Joel as they head down the road leading to a park. Joel looks like an absolute train wreck. He can see one single roadside with an arrow pointing ahead to a dead end. As if to confirm this, we see a large yellow road sign with the phrase "No Outlet" printed in large black letters. This is it, the end of the road. Joel can barely walk straight. They come to a stop to compose themselves for a moment.
I think we're here, Joel. You ready?
Joel pauses and takes in the scene. He looks down the road, then back at Rodney, smiling at him. He looks down for a moment to think. As he does this, his eye catches the "Rodney's got your back" sticker on his shirt. He looks back up at Rodney and contemplates for a second more.
I don't think so.
What's wrong? You need to sit down?
No. I'm fine. I just don't think it matters what's there.
Are you sure? Now, I totally support you.
Joel pauses and releases a warm and sympathetic smile.
I know you do. You always have. And I'm sure. I think I've been following the wrong signs anyway.
If you say so. Okay. You want to go grab a drink then? You pick the place. I'm still by.
Sounds great.
Rodney continues to support Joel as they walk away. Interior, coffee shop, late afternoon. Joel and Rodney sit together at the same coffee shop from earlier. Joel still looks disheveled, but happier and more full of life than we've seen him before. They're casually chatting and laughing together. As they converse, Rodney's phone buzzes. He peers at it out of the corner of his eye.
Hey, hold on. I got to grab this real quick.
No worries.
Rodney grabs his phone, stands up, and walks away from the table. Joel sits by himself contently. He notices another sign spinner out the window across the street. He chuckles to himself and takes another sip of his coffee. As he watches the sign spinner, he's interrupted.
Can I top you off there?
Joel is startled and whips his head around to see Christina standing next to him, holding a pot of coffee.
Oh, yeah, sure, I guess.
Christina obliges and fills the mug. As she does this, Joel notices that she seems a little disheveled herself.
Anything else I can get you?
No, I think I'm okay. It's just, are you okay?
Christina offers a brief look of confusion.
Yeah, I suppose. I've just had a day and a half.
I can relate.
I'd be shocked.
There's a brief lull of silence. Christina's gaze becomes distant.
Isn't that super strange?
Joel is disoriented by the topic shift.
What's strange?
Christina points out the window.
That cash for gold sign spinner. He's not even pointing toward the store he's advertising for.
Joel begins to smile. Christina immediately gets embarrassed.
Sorry, I shouldn't have said anything. That's such a weird thing to bring up. Who even cares about that?
They both pause and Joel considers the ironic weight of that sentiment.
You'd be surprised.
Another brief lull.
Well, anyway, let me know if you need anything else.
Joel gives another small smile.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Christina returns the smile sincerely and then walks away. Joel sits alone, taking in the moment, feeling both thoughtful and content, watching the sign spinner in amusement. We fade to black on Joel. The end. Yeah. Max, well done, my friend. I forgot to read some of my direction because I was very
What?
I was
There's also
engaged there.
there's too much direction. I it's mostly for myself while I was writing it. I need to go through and eliminate some of the explanations that would just exist. But that's more of my own structuring for part of my writing process, you know.
That's the director in you.
Yeah, I can't help it.
For sure. It's really, I mean, it's really solid, man. And Jason, having worked with you a couple times, dude, you bring so much to the table at these. It's so much fun.
Oh, thanks. Rodney's a fun character. So yeah, he's pretty, that was fun. No, that was great. I just read the first few pages to kind of get a grip of what Rodney was earlier. And I really enjoyed that, Max. That was
thanks.
Fun,
yeah, you brought a new life. I know, like I have only ever read those. Rodney has a lot of meaty dialogue, and I've only ever read those lines in my head, in my voice, and it was great to hear someone say them with so much gravitas. I was very happy about that.
It was great too, because then we've been doing this 7 weeks now. We've seen Max act 7 times, and I could tell that Max was trying a little bit harder tonight.
He was acting is reacting. He was giving it to
me. Exactly.
Yeah, it was easy to fall into pushing it harder. Yeah, I'll fest busted
for sure. So Max, we've now read it out loud.
Yes,
you've seen it. What do you think really holds up about it? Like there's a lot I like about this script. This is, I think, just from a quality standpoint, probably the best thing we've read so far.
Thank you.
So yeah, maybe talk a little bit more about your vision for it and what's the point in a good way? The point, Max.
The point? Well, like I said, it felt pretty repurposed from Hot Dog Justice in the sense that some of the structural components are still there, but at its core, it's someone sort of trying to not really knowing what they want to do with their life and being frustrated and confused about that aimlessness. And this one, it being a little bit more clearly repurposed into an understanding of everyone being no one having everything perfectly worked out. And that the line that sort of comes down to the idea life is still chaos, but it's not meaningless, and that there are people who kind of weather that storm with you was sort of where thematically this story sort of began.
Which I also love, because Max, having read, I think, pretty much everything you've ever written,
just about, yeah,
that I think that idea is really at the heart of everything you write.
Probably.
And the idea that one of the reasons life isn't meaningless is because of friendship.
Right. Yeah. I think that there's lots of very great meaning. Life has lots of meaning. I think one of the things that we are blessed with is rich and wonderful friendships who sort of weather through this. Big fan of Friends over here, guys. Not the TV show, the concept.
The concept of friendship.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and just that and I wanted Joel to be supported by Rodney, but I didn't want Joel's point to get to the end of the sign. So I needed Rodney to get on board, and then Joel also decide that wasn't what mattered in the end.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's my favorite moment in the movie, and one of the reasons that I would really like to see this made is I really love that moment where Rodney finally makes that turn, where he looks out the window, and there's something so powerful to me about the idea that he still thinks it's stupid. He still thinks it's not leading anywhere, but he's like, you know what? If Joel's doing this, I'm going to do it with him, and that's such a sweet thing.
Little throwback. I got a little nostalgia there listening to Jason kind of read as Rodney, kind of drawn back to bringing Elvis the book.
Yeah, there is a little. Yeah, really sending us back in the time machine there. No, and I was hoping for that. I didn't. It's so hard to get someone on board to such an obtuse idea, and I think ultimately what I decided is to turn it into a little bit of magical realism. That's why all of our major players at one point sort of confessed to having seen signs going the wrong way, including including Christina, who Mickey, killer job, of course.
As always.
Yeah.
Great job.
I
As
try my
always.
hardest.
One of the things, Max, that I wanted to ask about is there is some magical realism. There also is almost just a full-on magical character.
Oh,
I
yeah.
I want us to talk about the cabbie a little bit.
The sage. Yeah. I don't know how I was joking earlier beforehand that like I think the Lumineers wrote a song about this character at some point, but a magical cabbie. I just liked the idea, and I've debated at varying degrees of like what's the term for some whatever, like knowing as much information as the cabbie does. But I just thought like while we're on it, that scene seems so crucial to plant the seeds for the failure of like for him wanting to choosing not to follow the signs in the end. And so on one hand, it's sort of just like a necessity where like I wanted another character who could just sort of jump up and know stuff already. But I decided that it worked with the magical realism component to have them sort of be so knowledgeable and also be in such a unorthodox place.
Yeah, I mean, him knowing his name and everything, obviously, without being told.
And I've had that in and out at various points. I go back and forth on that one.
Yeah, Jason, just one question I have for you. This is the first time we can get like an actual actor's perspective on this.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
When you read those couple pages just to get a sense of what Rodney's about, what do you think Rodney's about? Like where are you kind of drawn from on that character? Because I mean, for such a silly little show that we do here, you actually really I appreciate how deep you were digging there.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, I didn't see that coming at the end because I'm reading the beginning thing and I'm like, okay, they're friends, but Rodney's kind of all about himself. And Joel's just kind of there to bounce off of. So I was really surprised. And I mean, it was kind of moving to me too, when he finally, like you said, just decides to, screw it. You're my friend. I'm going to support you. Let's do this thing. It was moving to me. I liked it.
You're getting at attention that I was concerned about, of thinking he was too obsessed. The monologue that started with went through so many iterations, and I had to like sort of tone down his self-indulgence. And so I wanted to at least try and seed that the idea that he needs to come and support. Like it's hopefully Rodney's not an entirely static character. Like the idea he has to come around to that notion. So I guess it's good that you saw him strongly in there, and hopefully the transition to making the switch. I mean, you play that switch really well. So it covers the multitude of sins.
I think you did a good job of writing Rodney. Just from just reading it, I feel like the only point where you think about, Rodney's kind of a little bit narcissistic is the beginning, but then you back it up with like a bunch of different things where you enforce that he's always there for Joel.
Love the sticker reference. Like that's
the sticker's great.
What I love with the sticker is when it's first introduced, it's such an empty platitude. Like it is. If you saw that sticker for a politician, you're like, that is the most meaningless bull I've ever heard. And so for then to that, like him really drive that home, it's like, we don't know what kind of politician Rodney is, but we do know that he is actually there for Joel. And it's really sweet. Like there's just such a definitive sweetness that runs through this. And I'm a sucker for that sort of sentimental streak.
Austin and I are always talking. I feel like we're always talking about just like very, very wholesome male friendships being represented.
For sure. Something that I think is,
it always sneaks into something I'm writing, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah, I really like it.
I would like to know, and maybe it's left ambiguous, but Max, I would like to know what you thought the blow up was.
Oh, I just assumed it was something insipid. Like
it was about the copier, Ryan.
Yeah. I know. I'd like to know details.
Max, I just imagine
I just want to know.
There was a paper jam or something, and he flipped over. Like I always assumed it was
paper
nothing.
Jam?
It was nothing, and he flipped out. Like it was just a small thing that made him. He's been on edge.
Just
Because I like that because he's such a sort of a docile character.
Yeah.
So something just made him snap, but he's usually very calm, and so
For sure.
hopefully implying there's something underneath the surface that he's not processing healthily.
Yeah.
So Max,
sure.
having read earlier drafts of this, the ending to this one is very different.
Yeah, I
don't want to give away too much about what you took things out for a reason, but I would say in the original draft the signs did lead him somewhere.
Yes.
And now they don't. So why that switch?
Well, I just thought I thought he's with Rodney helping him. I thought he was being too selfish. I wanted him to, I wanted the focus to be on his friendship and being supported and caring about him. And it felt like to do the sign thing at the end, to go all the way and finish the journey was too egocentric maybe. And then, so the original idea, I don't care to say, is that he gets there and then Christina is already sitting at the bench and she's been following different signs and they've both led there. And so that idea is sort of retained a little bit, but I wanted to remove, I didn't want to emphasize that this was exclusively romantic. Like I liked the idea. I didn't want to just like pigeonhole her in that. Like she, if anything, it's ambiguous, but hopefully like she's sort of been invited into the fold a little bit. It doesn't have like, I don't know if anyone read their interaction, their closing interaction is exclusively romantic or not.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, there's potential. Who knows? Things could blossom, but that's not where things are going necessarily.
In your mind, this is a question that doesn't need to be answered, but do you feel like, do the signs mean anything? Because even at the end, even once he's reached the end of his sign journey, there's still something's going on with the signs. Or is this the most directionally challenged city?
Yeah, it's really it's a question about infrastructure and city planning.
City planner really screwed it up.
It comes from the fact that I live in a town where there are four ways with only 3 stop signs at them. That's actually what this gets at. That's real, by the way, just on a separate note, and I'd love for that to be fixed if this movie does anything.
It's a movie with a purpose.
I think the idea was like maybe maybe all of your friends are just enough crazy in the same way you are. Is the mentality, right? Where like maybe the signs aren't wrong and they're all 3 of them are wrong about it. Maybe it's arbitrary. Maybe that they're looking into something that's not there. I like the idea that whatever they're doing, all 3 of them are doing it. And that sort of felt like the most fundamental thing.
This is sort of a side note that doesn't matter, but one thing that I do love about sign spinners is the fact that by sign spinning, they are often pointing the wrong direction because spinning their signs around.
Maybe this is an accidental homage to that dumb Vine where someone is like spinning a sign for a Quiznos in like 50 different ways, and there's just a guy in the back like, I can't even tell where the Quiznos is. So maybe
there is a Quiznos reference in the script.
Yes.
Maybe that's where that comes. Actually, it was all the sign spinners are just like things I feel like I've seen, like cash for gold and like tires and rent. Like it's just like,
I mean, there's
furniture, closeouts.
Yeah, exactly.
There's that cash for gold guy in Indy. It's been the same guy as long as I can remember, over by the Castleton Mall.
That's probably where that sign spinner is from.
And I drive by him every day on the way home from work. But I haven't seen him in a while.
Well, good.
But it is what I think it's fun to make a movie that's so about that because that's such an interesting sort of antiquated job that people still have. Like, it doesn't seem like that would exist anymore.
Oh, I am. Yeah. It started with being obsessed with sign spinners, which actually isn't even, I say that it started with the jeans commercial, which doesn't have sign spinners in it, but that got fused with my love of sign spinning just as a phenomenon.
Yeah. No, that's good stuff. So normally this is the part of the show where we cast it. Thankfully, the person we cast as Rodney is already here, thankfully.
Yes.
And Jason, by coming on here, you are contractually obligated to be in this if we ever make it.
That's how it works.
I missed that fine print, but I'm completely okay with it.
Wow, that's good.
Did you have anybody else when you were reading it? Did you have anybody in mind, Max?
No, this is I'm so bad. I feel like I should do this more. I almost never write roles with thinking of an actor or an actress in my head, which is weird because I feel like that's what everybody does. Let's think. So if
just give us Joel. Who? If Jason's playing Rodney, who's playing Joel?
Joel can be sort of a weird choice, and maybe he's a little too old, but we can make it work. Let's give it, just because I've been watching so much, let's give it to Danny Pudi. Let's let him do that.
There we go.
Danny Pudi from Community. And what's that other one? Mythic Quest.
Yes.
And
Raven.
What? Are you thinking of other? Or he had a cameo in Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
There we go. Everybody now knows who we're talking about. One of
the
those
canceled
three.
series Super.
There we go. So, Max, thank you so much for sharing this with us.
Thank you,
Jason. Thank you, my friend, for joining us. We really, really hope to have you on again.
Yes.
This
was fun. It was great.
So much fun. And we've teased it on here before. We will be doing We Three Kings soon. Once everybody's schedules mesh, we will be doing it, and it's going to be a ton of fun. So
get your Christmas sweaters out, kids.
Exactly.
Wonderful.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay inside, and we will see you next week.